Hello, hello, guys. Hope you guys are having a fabulous day. I wanted to come on here and just do a really quick lesson about my favorite money management tip for you guys. I know that money management is really kind of the one thing that everyone tends to get stuck on. Budgeting is such a icky thing, like having to sit down and restrict where you're spending money and all this stuff. It feels so depriving. Okay. It just makes you feel like you're just being deprived of the things that you want. It kind of brings out that rebellious nature in us of you can't tell me I can't spend it here or whatever. Like, I totally get it. It's just not a comfortable thing. It's not really fun. Now, budgeting and being able to manage your money is necessary. So I'm definitely not saying that you can't do that. I'm just saying that I understand that it's just not the sexiest, most fun thing to do, okay? But I wanted to share one of my favorite tips because there is something that happens. It's kind of like when we start dieting or restricting food, that feeling and that mindset of deprivation often works against us, because once you start feeling deprived, what do? If you're depriving food, all you can think about is the food that you can't have. And what usually happens is give it a week or two, or maybe even an hour, and you literally cannot control yourself. You go get that food, you binge on it, and it's like, it's just this endless cycle. And the same thing kind of happens with our money. When we come from a place of deprivation because we feel like we're not able to enjoy our life or do anything with it, or like we're just living paycheck to paycheck, it's really hard to stick to that system. It's hard to stick with that budget. And so while my tip today is going to seem at first like I'm making you even more deprived, I want you to kind of go with it because it's something that I did in my own life, and there is an intention behind it. And it's actually, by formulating it in this way, it's actually been able to help my mindset with money, and it's actually been able to bring more in, because I'm kind of tricking myself in coming from a more intentional, non-deprived, abundant place. Okay, so hopefully this tip will help you today. It's been really life-changing for me. So here we go. So it's really, really simple. First thing I want you to do is, if you don't already know this, like if you're not already good about really tracking your expenses and all of that, I want you to write down all of your bills and expenses. So these are just the things that you really have to survive. So your house, your electricity, your heat or your gas, all of that kind of stuff that you have to have, your internet, that kind of stuff. Okay, I don't want you to include things like Netflix or Hulu. Like, those are not necessities, okay? But your actual basic living expenses, obviously your cell phone is pretty much a living expense. Those kind of things, I want you to write them all down, and I want you to really figure out what the total of that is. So again, if you don't already do this, go ahead and do this, okay? Figure out what the total is. And then after that, I want you to see how much you're spending on things that are not necessary for your living. Okay, so this would be things like Netflix, Hulu, HBO, any kind of entertainment. So going to the movies, going out to eat, clothes and accessories that you buy that you don't necessarily have to have. Like, obviously, if you have to have a winter coat, then, yada, yada. You know what I mean? These are like things on top of everything, like the alcohol, coffee, so Starbucks runs, that kind of stuff. I then want you to put them in a different list and in a different category and see what the total of that is. Okay, so you're gonna have your total amount of what you spend to live, and then what you're spending as kind of a cherry on top of the necessary bills, okay? So then once you have these two lists, all right, this shouldn't take very long. Usually you can just get on your online bank account and break it down pretty easily. Then after that, when you have your two lists, I want you to look at the list of the kind of cherry on top spending. So not your bills of necessity, these other things, your entertainment and all that kind of stuff. And I really want you to see, is there one of those things that you're spending the majority on? So is your daily coffee run the one thing that's you've spent the most on? Or is it going to the movies? Or is it clothing? Like, when you buy clothes and accessories and handbags and shoes, like, is that category taking up most of your overall money in this category for the month? Does that make sense? So not everyone will have one thing that really sticks out. Sometimes it's really a combination of everything. But if you can see like one thing that is really kind of where the majority of that money and that budget is going to, I want you to kind of single out that one thing, okay? So for example, let's just say that it's clothes, okay? You've spent the majority of that extra money on clothes. You love clothes, you love posting about it, you love doing like outfit of the days, yada, yada. You just love clothes, accessories, bags, shoes, that kind of category, okay? So let's just say you're spending $200 a month, okay, on clothes that you don't really need, but you just love it. It makes you feel good, all that good stuff, okay? I then want you to take that $200 that you've spent and I want you to cut it in half, okay? So now you have $100, okay? So for the next month, you are now, instead of having $200 to spend on your clothes, accessories, shoes, purses, yada, yada, you are now going to have $100. And I want you to go and get out $100 in cash. Okay. Now, this is not the cash system where you're going to start paying all of your bills with cash and have all these different envelopes and all that stuff. This is just for this one thing. I want you to cut the total in half and then go get out that half in cash. Okay. So this in our example would be, you're going to go get $100 in cash. Okay. So for the next month, you only have $100. You have half of what you spent last month to buy shoes, clothes, accessories, whatever. Okay. Whatever it was that was your biggest item in that thing, okay? Using cash does a few things, okay? I don't know about you, but I know personally that using cash in my own life, I'm much more hesitant to spend the cash than I am to swipe the card. So you can probably relate to this, especially if you're of this generation where we've really kind of used cards for most of our adult life has been on a card. There's something about having this cash that when you can actually see it leaving you and you see your little pile of cash dwindling, you're like, oh no, it's almost gone. Like, do I really need this? It's so funny because when we swipe a card, like it's the exact same thing happening, but there's something about that visual cue that it really makes us stop and think before we spend, okay? So it's really making us aware of what we're actually spending money on. Like, you only have $100 to spend on the clothes and stuff that you love. Is this really something that you love? Like, do you love this shirt? Because you're about to give this cash away. And do you really, really, really love it? It just kind of helps solidify. Do we really, really want this? Do we really, really need it? Is it really going to bring us joy? This is crucial. This is crucial for working that muscle of intention over impulsion. This is something I talk about all the time. I've talked about it so much in the past few weeks, like on every single podcast episode. And this is truly the actual physical exercise that you can do to really start to work this out, to really start to learn this skill, because it is a skill of intention over impulsion. And so when you have this physical physical thing of money and you have to actually hand it over, you really have to think about, is this something that I really, really want? Am I spending with intention rather than impulsion? Okay, so it's going to do those two wonderful things. And third, it's this beautiful, beautiful dance of physical exchange of energy. Now, when we swipe a card, we are having this energetic exchange of money because it is coming from us and it is going into that entity that, the business or whatever that we are purchasing from. However, there is something even more powerful about physically holding the money and then handing that money to somebody else. There is this physical, energetic transaction that is even more powerful than when we swipe a card, okay? So then you're having this beautiful physical transaction of energy with our money, and we're transferring it from one person to the next person, okay? So we've gained awareness, we've gained intention with our purchases, and now we are putting all of that into physical action by having this physical exchange of energy. Okay, so we just built up some of that intention muscle and we just showed the universe that we want to purchase with intention, that we are okay with giving our money away because we are joyfully spending it because we are aware and we are intentionally purchasing something that we really love and that we really need. Okay, so this is doing so many things with our money mindset, and it's showing the universe, it's showing the energetic field that we are taking care of our money, that we love our money, and that we are not just throwing it away like it's garbage, that we're not just falling for every single ad on social media and for every single marketing gimmick and this and that, and that we're not just filling our lives with junk and clutter. We're really showing it that, hey, we can take care of this and we can really spend it with intention and we can be so happy and satisfied with what we're buying and we love what we're buying. It means something to us, and then we're going to take care of what we just purchased. Do you see this? So even though you now have half the money that you had last month that you can spend on this particular, category of things, you're going to feel so much better. You are not going to feel deprived. You are going to feel abundant, even if it's like your eating out budget. you're gonna feel so good because you know that you are spending with this intention. You're buying something, you're eating something that you really, really, really wanted. You're going to enjoy it more. You're not going to take it for granted. You're going to actually sit down and enjoy your meal. You're going to enjoy that pair of shoes you bought. You're going to enjoy the clothing that you bought. Even if it's just you spend $20 a month on coffee, now you can only spend 10, you're really, really, really going to enjoy that coffee this time. You're really going to have had this beautiful energetic transfer with that physical cash that you're handing over. Okay? So this is not only going to save you money because you're literally going to be saving 50% of whatever it was that you split in half, okay? And so now you can put that into savings, or you can put that in a fund for a trip or something that you really need in your life, new furniture, new something, a course. I really, really, really recommend if you are not putting at least 10% of your income, 10% is really the goal. 10% of your monthly income should be going to growth. So it should be going to learning. It should be going back into investing in yourself, whether that's with a course or a coach or in books, in something. It needs to be an investment back into yourself that's going to grow you, change you. It's good for your health. Like, it can be something related to your health. Maybe it's a class or a gym membership. It needs to go back into investment every single month into yourself. So maybe this is the little bit of cash that you needed. So that 50%, maybe that needed to go into something that you can use to invest in yourself. Whatever it is, you've now saved money. You're working that muscle of intent over impulsion. So now you're practicing not being so impulsive with your purchases, which is going to save you. Remember the average? Remember that staggering statistic of $6,000 a person per year in impulse shopping, which is still blowing my freaking mind. Okay, so think about all that cash you're going to be saving once you really learn this skill, because again, it is a skill that has to be practiced. Okay, and we're learning this really important lesson in our money management. Once you start to cut things in half, you start to really pay attention to what you really need and what you really don't. And over time, if you do this month after month after month, you're actually going to save such a significant amount of money, because you're not going to be just purchasing just for the sake of purchasing. Everything is going to have this beautiful intent. Everything is going to be something that brings you joy. It's like the KonMari method. It brings you joy. It brings you a good feeling. It makes you happy. And it's not just cluttering up your space and taking up room and stuff that you buy that you don't even remember that you bought that shows up on your front door. And I mean, just all of this crazy stuff. Okay. So I want you guys to practice this for the next month, especially right now, because we're in this season of holidays where we're spending a lot of money. There's a lot of ads, a lot of things coming at us all the time. So this would be a really good, it'd be a kind of a difficult month, but a really, really, really good month to try this, like over the next month, or you can wait until December, whatever, sounds better in your mind. But this would be a really, really good time to try this so that you can really start to kind of work this muscle, okay? Especially right now with all these temptations. It's like, nope, not gonna do it. So pick a month that'll be good for you. I hope this is helpful. I know this sounds so simple and so silly, but this really was something that I did like a year and a half ago that has completely changed the way that I spend my money. I look at my money and my account and what's going on in there and the different relationship that I have with money. So I hope this was helpful for you guys today. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a fabulous day. I will talk to you later.